Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Key. If you're new here and you like what I do, please comment, subscribe, and become a part of the family. And if you're not new here, welcome back, family. How are you doing today? So this video was going to be a little bit lighthearted, but I had a change of heart because I've been watching the news, which is always a bad thing. I should not watch the news because then I get all sensitive and the Pisces in me comes out. And I have purposely been avoiding the conversation about the Valentine's Day shooting. But now that it's starting to grow, I couldn't not say anything. You know what I mean? First and foremost, I want to apologize and say sorry to anyone that lost a family member, a friend. Is not the easiest thing in the world, and I know what it's like to have a friend be shot and killed in front of your face. And I tell you to stay strong and pray. And just remember that they want you to live your life to the best of your abilities. Don't let this situation don't let this situation stop you. Everything that you do now, you're doing it for them, so you want to be the best that you can be at whatever it is that you choose to do. And that's what I was told, and that's what I want to pass on to you guys, because when my friend got shot and killed in front of my house, I'm sorry that you guys have to go through that. It's not a fun experience, and it's not something that you would want to happen to you, and it sticks with you for a while, forever actually. So that's why I wanted to start with this. I don't mean any offense or any disrespect to anybody for what I'm getting ready to say out of my mouth, but it is my opinion, and I just want to share it. Here we go. Gun control, gun violence. I grew up in a city where you could get a gun from a corner store if you really wanted to, and you don't need anyone's permission to do so. And the idea of us being able to control guns is just unrealistic. And it's unrealistic because there's so many of them coming from so many different places, and the system itself is slightly messed up. So even with all the precautions that we think we can put into place, they always get overridden some way, somehow. And not only that, now you have a situation where you could just buy the pieces of the gun and put it together yourself. So gun control cannot be controlled, and that's the problem with the statement of gun control. It can't be controlled because you can't be in all places at one time, and you definitely can't monitor. I mean, you can try to monitor every computer screen, every search engine, every purchase that a person may make, but the reality of it is billions of people on this earth, and things are going to slip between the cracks sometimes. So that's problem number one with us trying to control the gun situation. Problem number two is wanting our teachers to have guns. Now, here's the reason that that's a problem. I am a daycare provider. I worked in a daycare when I was a teenager, and I took up childcare management. And so I'm not a teacher. I don't, get the experience that they get, but I can imagine as a childcare provider, and that is what they are. They are childcare education providers. That is what they're there for. They're there to teach your children and to make sure that they're in the safest environments possible. But you do not pay teachers enough money to carry guns. And even if you give this bonus to these teachers to get licensed and to carry guns, we have a whole nother problem now. We're opening up a whole nother can of worms. Please remember that we are in a situation in a society nowadays where teachers will fight a child back. We have seen it. We've seen teachers fight on a kid. We've seen school security guards get out of control and rough handle because a child was talking back and he didn't like that. We've seen a woman pull a belt off and beat a child. You're not helping by bringing guns into the school. That you're not. How is that helping? Because all you need is one teacher to be having a bad day, or to be tired, or whatever the case may be, whatever causes these teachers that have put their hands on children to snap. All you need is for that situation to present itself, and now they got a gun. No offense to no teacher out there, but I don't trust you with my nieces, my nephews, or my future children. I wouldn't trust no teacher with no gun. I know what it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to be to protect them, but the reality of the situation is you can't put that type of trust in someone, an educator, or anyone else that has not been professionally trained, have gone through some type of mental, evaluations. You're just going like, oh, well, here's some extra money, go get licensed, cool. But that's not training. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not professional training. They may go to the gun range a couple of times to get their aim on, but that isn't training like somebody that's been in the military that's been trained. That's not like a cop that's been trained. You understand what I'm saying? And then what about the mental capacity of it all? Like, you're talking about giving guns to teachers. Are you going to give them evaluated also? Is there like a mental check also? Like, are you going to make sure that they have a therapist or somebody that they can go and talk to so that they don't go off the deep end and now this gun is in this classroom or in their purses or in their drawers? Like, what? How about this? If you want to help gun control in the school systems, we don't give guns to the teachers. How about you make sure that every school has a metal detector? And a security guard. A trained one. 2 maybe. Maybe 3. We have them come in and we check book bags and we go through metal detectors. Not like all the time. And it's not to say that your school's a bad school, because what I've realized is people, when I said that idea, they say, oh, things like that only happen in inner city schools. But clearly that's not the truth. You get what I'm saying? Like, somebody got stabbed in my high school once. I had a rough life, y'all. Somebody got stabbed, and it's not funny, but when you have to tell these stories, you can't do nothing but try to just laugh to keep from crying. Somebody got stabbed at my school once. We had a metal detector for all of 24 hours, maybe 48, and then the metal detectors went away. They went away when really we needed them. We needed those metal detectors to stay indefinitely, because if that happened once, it can happen again. It can happen again. And to give a teacher a gun, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't fix anything. Actually, I would be more afraid knowing that my child teacher is walking around with a gun in the classroom. And this is all just in case, but it can be avoided from the front door. You have metal detectors. You have somebody sitting there to sign people in that don't belong in the school building. You make sure that the kids have school IDs so that you can identify who people are. You walk through the metal detector, hand over your ID, they check your book bag real quick and send you about your merry little way. But nobody wants to invest that type of money into the school system. Nobody wants to put that type of security in place when that's what we need. We don't need our teachers walking around strapped. I don't need Miss Johnson, our 60-year-old math teacher, walking around with a gat on her hip. Like, I don't need that in my school, and I don't need to see my nieces and my nephews walking into a situation like that. And I do not, like, it's just something I am not comfortable with. Like, guns don't belong in the school building. Not by my teacher, they do not. Now, if you're going to hire some security guards, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 to sit at the front door to check the metal detector and to see who's coming in and out, check IDs, have a sign-in so that you know who came in and out of your school. The shit sounds like a lot of work, but that is a hell of a lot better than having some teacher who may be on the brink of insanity, and all you need is for a student to say something smart 1 too many times in a week or 1 too many times in a month, and then that teacher snaps, because they do, and they have, and we've seen it. And I'm not saying that it's all teachers. I am just saying that it is people. They're people. They're humans. And you're putting the safety of my child in something that makes errors and makes mistakes. As a person, as a human, you make mistakes and you have lapse of judgment. And just because they have gone through the educational system and have gotten educated to educate, that does not mean they do not make mistakes and they do not have a lapse of judgment. You are putting a lot of trust in somebody. You're putting a lot of trust in somebody who is underpaid, underappreciated, and tired of dealing with the children and the attitudes and the parents and the attitudes and the whoever and the attitudes. You're putting a lot of trust in something that could make a lapse of judgment. And then the next thing that you know, we're watching the news and the teacher may have not killed a child, but has pulled a gun out on the child to try to prove a point, to prove that they're tired of being disrespected and they're tired of being taught to whatever kind of way. Or if a student gets too bold and they go attack that teacher, and it ain't just blacks and Hispanics, but they get tired and then they pull that gun out on that child to prove a point, to say, I have the power in this classroom. I don't think that is the best idea ever. But then again, I have to remember what we're dealing with here. You're going to pay them to walk around with guns, but you won't pay them for teaching our children. You won't pay them to tolerate our children and to deal with our kids and to deal with us as parents. And you won't pay them for that. But you'll pay them to walk around with this dangerous ass weapon, when in reality we could just hire more security guards. Hell, get a couple of those police that sit behind the desk. Get them to come in and do morning and after. You know what I'm saying? Like, get them to come in, have one of them and maybe a security guard patrolling the school and making sure everything is good. Like, if you have the problem in check from the door, and I mean literally from the door, then we don't have to have our teachers walking around with firearms. What is this turning into? Why is school turning into a war zone? And I know it still may sound like a war zone with the metal detectors, but that is a hell of a lot better than every other teacher in every other classroom having a gun. And it saddens me that we've gotten to this point. And it saddens me that we will put hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars into place to give bonuses for that stupid shit, but we won't give the school system bonuses to put metal detectors in, to hire more security. And I'm not saying that you gotta like have the